Okay, we're on 257. We grew up, the only Jewish person with a name like Thomas, he had to be Hungarian. No other, I'm just saying, remember, no other people had named Thomas. Thomas was like a goy, he had a name Tom. Why? Chris is too, unfortunately. Okay. No, I'm talking about religious people. Hungarian. Mazurek. There was Mazurek houses on Lower East, Mazurek houses. It's named after him. Okay, let's see, 257. Kodno yidei lanei lulav kedino. A child is sufficiently developed that he has the skills, the mechanical skills that he can wave physically. He can hold a lulav and wave it as it should be waved. Avav chayov liknos lulav. It's a brisa in Sukkah. When a child reaches a certain age, he's able to put on tzitzis. Father has an obligation to buy him a pair of tzitzis. When he's able to wave the lulav, father has an obligation to provide daled minim for him. When he can put on tefillin, and he's able to maintain them, even as a minor, he should buy his child tefillin. Today we don't conduct ourselves this way, but the brisa. No. Okay, even tefillin. Why should he purchase the lulav for him, the daled minim? To train him in the performance of the mitzvah. This has nothing to do with limud Torah. Chinuch, everybody who uses drabanan. That the father has an obligation to teach his son Torah, that's a Torah obligation. But chinuch, to train him how to perform the mitzvah as a child, that's rabbinical. It's a whole argument. Does a mother have an obligation to chinuch? Is the obligation? Everybody, father definitely yes. Question is, does the mother also have an obligation to train a child in the performance of mitzvahs when he becomes of age? Because the mother has her responsibilities to raise the child. She can. We're talking about as an obligation. Does she have a rabbinical obligation? That's the question. It has to be the standard. You can't give him a lemon. Okay? Kodno Yodea, Mishna Berura. Ho'emenu Yodea. But what happens physically? He's not capable. Apshu Barshis. Even though he's 6 years old, let's say he's awkward. He's awkward, clumsy. He's not. The chinuch einu shoveh b'chol mitzvos. Chinuch is not equal regard. When you reach a certain age, then you have to start training him. He's not capable. In the physical sense, he's not able to wave it. He's not able. Doesn't have the mechanical skills. Okay. It's interesting. He says, to wave the lulav as it's supposed to be waved. Let's say he can hold it. He won't drop it. It's not sufficient. You have no obligation. He says, to move the lulav outward and inward and up and down. If he's not able to do, you have no obligation. Although if you give it to him, hold it, he can't hold it, just shake it a little bit. At that point, one does not have the obligation yet. If you teach him and he's able to do it correctly, as if he would be an adult, then you have an obligation. It's interesting. There's a proof from the Gemara in Chagiga. The Gemara Chagiga speaks about chinuch. The Mishnah says that if a person is not able to walk, he's lame. He has no obligation to be Ola Regel, to visit the Temple Mount, because he's not able to walk. Okay? So the Gemara has a question. What happens if a person is a child, and as a child he's not able to walk, but by the time he becomes an adult, he'll heal. He'll recover from whatever the injury is. So this is even speaking of a temporary injury. Person breaks his leg. He's not able to walk. Twists his ankle. He's not able to walk. this Yom Tif, he has no obligation to go to be Ola Regel. It's only if you're able to walk. If you have to be carried or some other means of transportation, you have no obligation. Okay? So there is a question, what about a child? Is a child, he's not able to walk, but as an adult, he will be able to ascend. Does the father have an obligation in chinuch now, because as an adult, because you're training him, so when he becomes an adult, he should what? He's already conditioned to do the mitzvah. Do you have an obligation to bring him? So the Gemara says you have no obligation to bring him, because it's not a proper training. You have to train him as a child, because in this state, as an adult, he would be obligated to do it. But in the present state, he's not able to walk. So even though he'll recover, and by the time he becomes an adult, he'll be the equivalent, he'll be able, but that's not the mitzvah. The mitzvah is only, the mitzvah that I'm obligated to train you is to do the mitzvah correctly. What's the mitzvah correctly? To walk to the Temple Mount. You don't go, you ascend. You ascend by foot. You don't take some means of transportation, or you're carried. So therefore the father has no obligation. Same thing. And if I train him, he's not able. No, it's not proper. You have to train him and condition him to do the mitzvah as he would do if he would be an adult. An adult, it's only waving it. Yes, yes. No. In Yerushalayim. Once you read. No, it's not possible. No, of course not. It means in Yerushalayim. Yes. You're in. No, everybody comes to Yerushalayim. Now you ascend. Okay. Oviv Chayov. Look, don't argue with David's travel agent. Okay. Oviv Chayev, the father. Chinuch is not only on a Torah level for Torah mitzvahs, even rabbinic mitzvahs. A father, let's say, Hanukkah, lighting Hanukkah lights. Child, right? A father has to provide a menorah for his child to light Hanukkah lights, so even though it's mitzvah rabbanan, right? Oviv Chayev. Yeah, liknos lo lulav. So you have an obligation to buy a lulav for him. Marshal Costa in tzorch liknos lo lulav mifnei atzmo. Ki la'ach sheyetzev lo oviv yidnen lebno lenanei bolav. Well, he doesn't have to purchase it. Let's say for the father, he's yotze the first day, then he gives it to his child. It's not a problem, because even if the child can't give it back to him, right? Because once you transfer it to the child, the Gemara says the child can't give it back to him. But the subsequent days are rabbinical anyway. You don't have to own the lulav. You only have to own the lulav. The dollar meaning only the first day, right? So the Marshal says, when it says you must purchase a lulav, you don't have to purchase. After the father's yotze, you can give him his lulav for the child to be yotze. If a person has the financial capability that he can afford to buy a lulav for his child, he should have his own lulav. Tov yosi shikno lulav, v'shiyasna nuim kidinu b'shas ha'halil. Because to do it right, you're supposed to even do it during Halil, to wave it. But if the father's going to be preoccupied with the lulav, he's not able to give it to his child. It's better than giving the lulav after you finish davening. You'll give the lulav to your child to be yotze. You should have the lulav continuously to be naneh, even though you see in some shuls, the father does the nanum even during Halil, then he gives it to his child. Even when the children are adults, even when they're adults, we're not even talking about minors. Right, because the person can't afford more than one set of most of the dollar minim. Today, because of the affluence, today it's almost unless a person is really can't afford it, or the person's just a miser, cheap. What do I have to buy a pair of tefillin if I can use the shul's tefillin? That there used to be a mentality, people. Lord Chafetz Chaim writes in Hilchos Tefillin that people have money for everything. When it comes to tefillin, they'll use the tefillin, the shul tefillin. He said, firstly, he says, maybe they're not kosher. In Europe, they have certain out-of-town shuls. You go, they have a box, and the tefillin are not even in bags. They have shel yad, and they have rosh, they're just in a box. So first of all, who said they're kosher? Secondly, very often they're not blackened sufficiently. Over time, the color is worn off. Thirdly, the shel yad is one thing. What about the shel rosh? The shel yad is not a problem to fit. But the shel rosh may not fit properly. If it doesn't fit, you're not yotze. So the Chafetz Chaim says, for everything, when we want something, we somehow come up with the money. When it comes to do a mitzvah, They already, it's too difficult. So he says, if you could, today with our affluence, in most communities, people buy their children, even minors, it's called a chinuch set. But a chinuch set, it's not the ultimate, but you could be yotze. You be yotze at a minimal level, it meets the standard.
The idea of actually chinuch here is to teach at the level where it's supposed to be done. The chinuch set is, by definition, it's below the level of it.
It's not below the level. It is. It's hodor. It is hodor.
Why is
It's not.
Set as opposed to being the regular set, but it's not as good as the regular set.
Because we spoke about adding a third, right? You should add a third to a mitzvah for hodor. So we're speaking. A regular set is a real quality set. Chinuch set itself is not that cheap either.
Right.
You spend $36 on a chinuch set for a child.
Right.
Okay. And if you have a few children, you buy each one of them a set. That's what you have to do. He says something interesting. What about a child knows how to wave the lulav, but he doesn't know how to say the bracha? The bracha doesn't know. So he says, "Tinok shein yodi levorich, yenanu es lulav v'dayom." So it doesn't make a difference. The mitzvah of course, the most perfect way to do is with the bracha. But what is the mitzvah? The mitzvah is waving the lulav. So the Be'er Halacha says, what about if the child doesn't even know how to say Hallel? She's not going to wave it during Hallel. That's okay. It's fine also. He says it's better if the child is going to say Hallel and he could wave it during Hallel. That's why the child should have his own lulav. What if the child is not even he doesn't know Hallel? Well, he's not mature enough that he's going to even say the Hallel. You still buy him the lulavs, but then he use yours because he's not going to be there for Hallel in either case. So he makes it a point. He says it's understood that he says it's understood that it has to meet the minimum stat has to be kosher. It has to be kosher species. One time it wasn't so simple to get kosher species. The lulav was not such a problem. The esrog was a problem because the whole idea in the years ago, the whole idea from Murkov of being crossbred, get an esrog that it was clear that it definitely was not crossbred wasn't simple. Today, with people being more affluent, so therefore the esrog growers, they could afford to invest more in taking care of the groves. So therefore, today it's much more common. It's available. One time it wasn't available. You had to look high and low, and you had to prepare and pay a fortune. And there were very few of them. And not only that, many of them weren't even even if it wasn't crossbred, by the time they would be picked, very often they wouldn't even be valid. They'd be punctured or be cut or whatever it is, so therefore there were many problems. This year it's complicated. The way it's done, the problem is not buying the esrog. That's not a problem. Well, they only charge you. It's no different. How does anybody sell food in Israel? There's a thing called Otzer Bezdin. They transfer ownership to Bezdin. There's a whole thing where it's done. No, but afterwards, what do you do with the produce? Like if you live in Israel, lets you eat food, produce, vegetables, fruits. You can't just throw it and discard it. Even if you wrap it, can't discard it. You have to let it just rot. And after it rots to an inedible state, then you discard it. So let's say you finish with the esrog. What do you do with the esrog when you finish with the esrog? You can't just throw it away. You have to let it just deteriorate to a point, and when it's esrog becomes hard like a rock, like a piece of wood, then you discard it in a respectful way. But even if you eat it, what about the peel? What about the everything? So it's not a problem. It's not a problem. No. Israel, from Israel. Not they transfer it to it's Bezdin. It's It's a whole thing where they come up with it.
Is a corporation, that's a management entity, the owners of the,
Maybe that would be like the Bezdin, like Bezdin owns it. It's a very Ramosha has a leniency regarding interest. The corporation borrows money, even though they're Jews, because the corporation is an entity unto itself. It's not individuals. So he has a leniency there that the laws of interest of ribis don't apply. It's not simple. In what sense? Liability-wise? No, but it's not a Jew. Okay? Look, I understand. Look, we have a president. He's also called a person, right? Okay. Okay, 2:58. Just